Hi, guys. Thank you so very much for tuning in to another episode with me. Today, we are going to talk about something that is once again near and dear to my heart. This is me really on a more personal level. And I just really want to share with you guys something that God has actually just placed on my heart just last week, really. And I wanted to share this with you because I know that it's something that you guys can probably relate to. And if you can relate to it, of course, go ahead and let me know in the comments down below because I definitely want to hear from you. But today we are going to be talking about truly being exposed and what I thought I knew where my perfectionism came from, when in reality, I did not know this entire time until God actually broke it down and He revealed some things to me that I was just like, oh my gosh. So, anyway, without further ado, let's go ahead and get into today's message. I always had perfectionism. However, I am now a recovering perfectionist. I used to be very bad with it, and it kind of had me in a dark place now that I think about it, but not anymore. I am so much better. I am truly free from it. Sometimes it does want to creep up, but I knock it back down, and I because now I know truly who I am and whose I am, and I don't allow that to get in my spirit. I don't allow that to be a part of my identity. I don't allow that to be a part of truly who I am and who God has called me to be. And so when I was younger, I used to want to do things like all the time that were just of high excellence. I wanted to always get an A in my class, and I was doing really good in getting straight A's or a B here and there, and my report card always had that, right? And then there came a point where the C's started coming in, and I was just like, wait a minute, no, I need to do a little bit better. And so that started out when I was younger, and then when I got a little bit older, I began to have issues that became a little bit more dark, where I would get very upset with myself. Things became more toxic with myself. And so whenever I did something wrong, then I would definitely punish myself in a way where I would say, you know what, you're not going to eat dinner because you did bad on this test, or you should have done better. You could have gotten that A. You could have studied a little bit harder. If you would have studied a little bit harder, then you would have done better. Like, I was really going in on myself, and I would call myself names, and it was just very bad. And now what I've understood as I have grown now to who I am now, and the age that I'm in now, and the maturity that I've gotten with my relationship with God, I really truly know that it's spiritual warfare. It's the spirit realm that is really just, the enemy. That was one of the tactics that he used to get at me for so long, for so many years. And I finally decided to put a stop to that, and I finally gave it over to the Lord. I finally put it on a cross. I nailed it to the cross, and I was like, you know what? I'm done. I can't do this anymore. And I have truly been free from it. Now, like I said, sometimes it likes to try to creep up, come in different ways, but I thank God that He makes me more aware of it so that I'm able to deal with it accordingly and not allow that to be a part of my life. But even then, when I was younger, there was still times where it was where I just I let me tell you, I am the only child. When I say I'm the only child, I'm the only child. Okay. I will tell you guys more about my personal life in that aspect a little bit later, but I'm going to just leave it right there because I want to make sure that we get this video together where I want to take it. But I am the only child, and so I did not have anyone else who I could lean on, who I could talk to, and who I could share my darkest secrets with, or my deepest secrets with. I did not have anyone, and so what I did, without even really realizing it, I created an alter ego. I didn't have anyone. I would always hear about different people, like my cousins and people on TV who always had like a a sibling who they can go to and they can compete with, a, with um, education to prepare them, to help them to go and excel even further. But I didn't have that. I just had myself. And so I decided to create an alter ego. I decided to create someone who I can strive to become. And I didn't know any of this. I thought maybe I would always tell this story to people, and I would immediately tell them afterwards that I don't know where this came from. My family didn't do it. It's something that I did for myself. It's something that I did to myself, but I don't know where it came from until God just recently revealed to me that no, it's something that was created. It's something that I didn't even know that I really agreed to and did not know it. And so I want to bring you guys into that part of my life, expose even more a part of my life that I didn't even know myself. So, when God began showing me this, the picture that became or that came to my mind surprised me. You know how writers create characters for a movie? They think through every detail, what they look like, how they act, what they believe, how they respond. Those characters don't exist, but they become so real that the audience almost forgets they're fictional. And God showed me something that honestly stopped me in my tracks. Somewhere along the way, my mind had done something similar. Without realizing it, I had created a version of myself that didn't actually exist. She wasn't a real person. She wasn't someone I had met. She wasn't even someone I consciously decided to become. She was simply this impossible version of who I thought I always needed to be. She always had it together. She never made mistakes. She was always one step ahead, always stronger, always more disciplined, always more productive, always more successful. And here's what I didn't realize: I spent years chasing her. Every accomplishment wasn't good enough because she would have done more. Every success felt incomplete because she would have done it better. Every mistake became proof that I still wasn't where I should be. I wasn't trying to become the woman God created me to be. I was trying to become someone my own mind had quietly invented. The hardest part wasn't that I had created this impossible version of myself. The hardest part was that I didn't know she had become the loudest voice in my mind. She was the one saying that wasn't good enough. You should have done more. You could have worked harder. Why didn't you think of that sooner? Other people would have handled this better. I honestly thought those thoughts were just me. I thought that was my personality. I thought that's just what ambitious people sounded like in their own heads. But when God began exposing it, I realized something. That voice wasn't leading me into peace. It wasn't producing joy. It wasn't drawing me closer to Him. It kept moving the finish line. Every time I reached one goal, there was another. Every time I celebrated something, the celebration was cut short because there was already another expectation waiting for me. I was exhausted and I couldn't understand why. because I wasn't competing with another person. I was competing with someone who never actually existed. I don't believe God showed me this so I could feel guilty. I believe He showed me this because He wanted to set me free. For the first time, I stopped asking, why can't I be more like her? And started asking, who did God actually create me to be? Those are two completely different questions. One keeps you striving, and the other invites you to surrender. One is built on comparison, the other is built on identity. God never asked me to become the imaginary woman I had been chasing. He simply asked me to become the woman He created. And those aren't the same person. Now, I'm still learning and I'm still growing, but now when that familiar pressure tries to creep back in, I recognize it. I pause, I pray, and I remind myself that my value has never depended on keeping up with someone who was never real in the first place. Maybe you've been chasing someone like that too. Maybe not another person, but a version of yourself that has quietly been sitting in the driver's seat of your thoughts. If that's you, I hope this encourages you to bring that to God. Because sometimes freedom doesn't begin when our circumstances change. Sometimes it begins when God reveals the pattern we've been living with all along. I hope and pray that you guys receive something from this message. Thank you guys so very much for tuning in, and I cannot wait to see you guys in the next episode. Until then, bye.